Hello! In this series, whether you don't understand the draw of instrumental music, you're excited to listen to new music, or you want to hear someone gush about something you already love, here we explore how composers convey stories through music. So, today we're going to be diving into composer Yasunori Nishiki's Octopath Traveller, more specifically Ophilia's theme. Now, before we get started, if you don't want or need to be on your phone or computer right now, I encourage you to hop off and do whatever you need to do first. However, if you're ready to dive into how the composer of Octopath Traveller communicated narrative in Ophilia's theme, then welcome and I hope you enjoy. Let's go. This video is going to be broken up into 4 parts. To start, we'll listen to the song one time with no comments. Next, we'll dig into each section of the song one by one, uncovering the elements the composer uses to convey images and emotion. After covering each section of the song, we'll look at what part of the game this song was made for to provide listening context. And finally, we'll listen to the song one last time without any pauses, and with any luck, using what you've learned, you'll be able to connect more deeply with the song. As a note, I will try my best to leave any music theory notes that come to me in the last listen of the song. It can be interesting to know the music theory, however, it can sometimes detract from a song if you focus intently on them, so this will just be for whoever finds it fun and wants to know a little bit more, so that's for you. Alright, now that we're on the same page, let's go ahead and give a listen to Ophilia's theme composed by Yasunori Nishiki. Alright, I hope you enjoyed listening through. If you have your own thoughts on the song before I give my own take, I would love to read them in the comments below, so you can take this time. Otherwise, let's go. Okay, I know we just finished the song, but let's go ahead and focus in on this first section, okay? Let's hop right into it. Okay, for this first section, let's focus on a couple of things, okay? The instruments and the energy of this section. At the start, we can hear a cautious and gentle flute enter, with a harp playing behind. Now, flutes tend to give a sense of innocent and delicate beauty. Now, harps can sound similarly delicate and beautiful, but they also provide this nuance of something regal, serene, and graceful. In addition, the two are playing very softly together and they're not really stepping on each other's toes. They're not playing over each other entirely. So they both only enter with little note fills here and there. Now, with this in mind, as the flute flutters between the second and the root note, there's a sense of something unsure and unresolved. So we have delicate, innocent beauty that is cautious and maybe a little skittish. So let's listen to it again. Okay, now let's check out section 2. Okay, with this section, two things come to me. The introduction of some soft strings and the introduction of a slightly mysterious turn in the melody. So when the strings enter, how do you feel when those strings enter? When they enter for me, I get the sense that there's an opening of the feeling of scope. You can picture the scene coming into sharper relief as they ease into the scene and you start to have that bigger sound kind of go around you, right? It makes the scene feel slightly bigger. At the same time, the melody begins to sound more pensive, and the surface level emotions of innocent beauty begin to take on an enigmatic edge. In this moment, you can imagine that there's some sort of either untapped power or depth to whatever this innocent being or thing is. So let's listen to it again. All right, now let's check out section 3. Now, with the intrigue of the previous section setting the stage for the one we just listened to, the strings and flute are now in full conversation. The gentle, innocent beauty of the flute is now heightened, showing its depth, and with that, its true face. And that face is one of deep reassurance and commiseration, like that of a tender and true friend. So it's a very validating, sympathetic sound that marries quite dramatically with the unsure innocence that was established before with the flute. Now, while this flute continues to be gently reassuring, like that of a kind grandma or sister, right? The violin paints a dramatic and deep beauty. The two of these combine to portray a particularly evocative yet sweet scene, especially as the build in unison towards the tail end of this section. So let's keep an ear out for it as we listen to it again. All right, now let's check out the fourth section. Okay, the previous section is now played again, but with more energy. So we had section 3, section 4 repeats it, but it's bringing more energy. How is it doing this? As the previous unison, and unison is just when instruments are playing together, of the flute and strings are built to such a tender and dramatic degree, the recapitulation or the repetition of this section with slightly more energy drives home that reassuring feeling that the song has started to engender. So, how does it do it? It brings in a proud horn. The harp starts to sound more pronounced, as well as this shifting, almost flying movement with the strings. It feels very ethereal and whimsical. So, the horn shows a proud, heroic, and more confident side to this growing reassurance, and the harp drives home the graceful and quietly resolute quality that had felt more shaky before. So, let's check it out again. Okay, with that, we've done it. That is the song. It repeats after that. So, now that we've listened to every part, let's dive into a little bit of the backstory on who this theme was made for before we listen to the whole piece. I'm going to cover super duper minor spoilers that happen very, very early in the game, and even then, I'm going to be super vague about it. So, even the most spoiler sensitive should be okay. But if you're hypersensitive, I know I can be to spoilers. This is your warning just for this section, and then you can absolutely hop in at the end of the song if you just want to play it for yourself. So, without further ado, let's hop into it. So, the character to whom this song belongs is naturally Ophilia. Ophilia is an adopted daughter to a high priest, and this priest is a very gentle and kind person. And Ophilia wishes to be as caring a person as the person who took her in. So, early on in the game, ill fortune falls upon her father. So, what does that do to the song? What does that do for the song, rather? In this theme, you're not only going to see the budding, innocent Ophilia start to show the latent compassion and strength of her spirit that has not yet fully bloomed, right? You're seeing a peak at her potential growth, right? You can also see the innocent and worried Ophilia being reassured by her adoptive father. You can see her wishing to do the same. And then in the context of her father not being okay, it adds this element of dramatic, tragic irony to this reassurance that you can see similarly in Final Fantasy VII with Aerith's theme. How it's a very bright, happy, and reassuring song, but in the context of things that happen in the game, it can bring a more tragic feeling to the song. So in this way, the general feeling of the entire song can begin to take on new meaning, depending on the context, allowing these different character elements to be communicated through the same frequency, but bringing changes in perspective from the beautiful, the heart-wrenching, and the heartwarming. It is also why songs that evoke emotions in such a way can be interpreted in so many powerful ways. They convey feelings, movement, and growth in impactful yet broad ways. In so doing, different interpretations of a thoughtfully constructed piece of music can enrich the very tapestry of the musical experience that the song can provide. So here's what I mean by that. If you're a composer, you're like, okay, I know this character's going to be like this, I want it to be very sweet, and I want it to show some depth, yada, yada, yada. You think of these emotions, and you think of, adding bits of movement and drama within. However, you then can take that same song, now that you've established it, put it in different story contexts, and it will bring on new meaning. So if it becomes sad, then there's a little bit of a bitter irony. If someone else is reassuring them, then it's like, it also means that this person's taking care of them. So it's starting to broaden the sense of this song, even though the song itself hasn't changed. It's just adding new context. So if you're thinking intentionally about what kind of emotions you want, you can play on that as a composer, not only in how you write the song, but on when you use it. When you use it in the game can start to give that song a different flavor, right? You can think of that quintessential Quentin Tarantino Stuck in the Middle with You song, where it's normally a very bright, happy song, and if you know that scene, it's a very dark scene. So composers and honestly just directors, people who are choosing where sound can go, can give these songs different context if the songs are put together intentionally. So I know that was kind of sappy for parts of it. I know it's kind of like in-depth in moments, but sappy is on brand for this song. So I think you might agree. Let's go ahead and listen to it one more time. Yasunori Nishiki is a Chad. He can take a game with a great concept and okay execution. I'm gonna get lambasted. And genuinely make me want to play through the entire thing. If you made it through, I genuinely hope you got something out of this. I often struggle to know when to stop overanalyzing music and just enjoy. That said, I have noticed that a part of the reason some of my friends have a hard time having similar experiences as I do with orchestral music is because some of these ideas of emotional development, instruments representing characters and having their own sonic personalities, and narratives being told through these elements are not things that immediately come to everyone's mind. Now, that being said, there are also some people who have a way better sense of these things than I do. That said, I see most discussion on music and game music and composing soundtracks and all of that arrangement. I see a lot of that focus on music theory rather than imagining and sensing narratives and emotions of a song in a more maybe organic way. At any rate, I hope this was helpful to those who don't connect with music as easily, curiosity piquing to those who are very familiar with music but not with Yasunori Nishiki, and entertaining to fans of the game who just want to hear someone talk about something they love. So, with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Peace.